Taeho stood in the center of the massive chamber, feeling very small. The Galactic Council Hall was built to make visitors feel tiny. Giant pillars reached up into darkness above. Strange lights floated in the air, casting moving shadows everywhere. Around him, in tall seats that looked like thrones, sat the representatives of 12 different alien species. None of them looked happy to see him. Taeho wore his best diplomatic uniform. Dark blue with gold trim, it had taken Earth's best tailors 3 months to make. He carried a small device that held all of humanity's hopes. Inside were the documents, videos, and data that proved humans deserved a place in the galaxy. At least he hoped it would prove that. The chamber was so quiet he could hear his own heartbeat. Then one of the aliens began to laugh. It was Zixandra, the representative from the Veltari Empire. She looked like a living crystal sculpture, all sharp edges and glowing blue light. When she laughed, it sounded like breaking glass. "Look at this little creature," Zixandra said to the others. Her voice rang through the chamber like a bell. "It walks on just 2 legs. How does it not fall over?" More laughter came from the other seats. The Kethlai representative, Tiklesh, made clicking sounds with her insect-like mouth. She looked like a giant mantis wearing robes. Her 4 arms moved as she gestured at Taeho. "The humans still use chemical rockets," Tiklesh clicked. "Chemical rockets like children playing with firecrackers." Gulthak, the Morden elder, waved his tentacles in what Taeho knew was their version of laughter. The Morden looked like giant squids, but they lived in air instead of water. Gulthak's purple skin changed color as he spoke. "Tell us, little human," Gulthak said in a voice like bubbling water. "Do your people still fight with metal sticks that throw small rocks?" Taeho kept his face calm, but inside he felt anger building. He had studied these species for years. He knew they were advanced. Their ships could cross the galaxy in days. Their weapons could destroy planets. But they acted like spoiled children. "Honorable council members," Taeho said, his voice steady. "Humanity comes in peace. We seek only friendship and trade." This caused even more laughter. A Zephyrian delegate, who looked like a living shadow with glowing eyes, spoke up. "Friendship?" the shadow being hissed. "What could we possibly gain from creatures who have not even left their own solar system?" "They have left it," Zixandra corrected, her crystal face shining brighter. "They have a few tiny colonies, mining stations and farming worlds. How primitive." Taeho activated his device. Holographic images appeared in the air above him. Pictures of human cities, ships, and technology. He had practiced this presentation 100 times. "Humanity has been spacefaring for over 300 years, he began. "We have colonies on 47 worlds. Our population is over 2 billion across the galaxy." 2 billion, Tiklesh clicked mockingly. "The Kethlai have 2 billion workers on a single hive world." "Our ships can travel at significant portions of light speed," Taeho continued, trying to stay focused. "Our technology is efficient and reliable." On cue, his device projected images of human starships. They were sleek and functional, painted in gray and white. Compared to the alien ships he had seen, they looked simple. No glowing crystals, no organic curves, no impossible geometries. Just metal and purpose. Zixandra stood up from her crystal throne. She was 3 meters tall and her body caught the chamber's light like a prism. "Look at these crude metal boxes," she announced to the chamber. "They have windows. Actual transparent material for the crew to look out. Do they not have sensors?" "They appear to use projectile weapons," Gulthak added, his tentacles pointing at the displayed images. "Kinetic energy weapons. They fire physical objects at each other." The laughter grew louder. Taeho felt his cheeks burning, but he kept talking. "Human engineering focuses on reliability and effectiveness," he said. "We believe in proven methods." "Proven methods from 1,000 years ago," the Zephyrian shadow hissed. "Your species fights like primitives." Taeho closed his eyes for a moment and thought of Earth. Blue skies, green forests, and cities full of people who were counting on him. His daughter Mina had made him promise to bring back good news. His wife Yoonji had packed his favorite snacks for the long journey. opened his eyes and tried again. Humanity offers unique perspectives, he said. Our approaches to problems are different from yours. This diversity could benefit the Council. Different. Zixandra laughed again. Your approaches are simply wrong. She gestured with one crystalline hand and new images appeared in the air. These showed Veltari warships. They looked like flying cathedrals made of crystal and light. Weapons that could tear space itself flickered along their hulls. This is a proper warship, Zixandra announced. Energy shields that can stop stars. Weapons that fire pure plasma. Hull plating that exists in 7 dimensions. More images appeared, showing Kethli vessels that looked like living insects the size of cities. Morden ships that flowed like liquid metal. Zephyrian craft that seemed to be made of solid darkness. Now look again at your metal boxes, Zixandra commanded. The human ships appeared again next to the alien ones. The difference was clear. Human vessels looked like toys next to the alien craft. Perhaps, said a new voice, we should provide a demonstration. Everyone turned to look at the speaker. It was Kelmor, the war chief of the Draknari Empire. The Draknari looked like lizards that had learned to walk upright and wear armor. Kelmor's scales were dark red, and his eyes glowed yellow. A demonstration? Tiklesh asked, tilting her insect head. The humans need to understand their place, Kelmor said, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. They come here thinking they are equals. Perhaps they need to see the difference between their toys and real weapons. Zixandra's crystal face lit up with pleasure. An excellent idea. A gentle lesson in humility. We could send a single patrol ship, Gulthak suggested, his tentacles writhing with excitement. One ship could easily handle their entire fleet. Teho felt cold fear in his stomach. Honorable Council members, humanity seeks only peaceful contact. We have no desire for conflict. Of course you don't, Kelmor growled. You know you would lose. The Council began talking among themselves, ignoring Teho completely. He stood in the center of their circle, listening to them plan his people's humiliation. The colony world. What is it called? Zixandra asked. New Busan, Teho said quietly. It's a mining world, mostly civilians. Perfect, Tiklesh clicked. We will send a patrol fleet to New Busan. They will demand surrender and tribute. When the humans comply, the lesson will be complete. And if they resist? Asked the Zephyrian shadow. Then they will learn why resistance is futile, Kelmor answered, showing his sharp teeth. The Council voted quickly. 12 species, 12 votes in favor. None opposed, none abstained. It was decided. The Veltari Second Fleet will provide the demonstration, Zixandra announced. 6 ships should be more than enough to handle any human response. When? Teho asked, though he already knew he would not like the answer. They depart immediately, Zixandra said. Your people will have 3 days to prepare for their lesson. Teho bowed formally as protocol demanded. The human ambassador requests permission to contact his government. Granted, Tiklesh clicked dismissively. Tell them to prepare for visitors. As Teho walked out of the chamber, he heard the aliens still laughing behind him. They thought, this was funny. They were about to attack innocent people, and they thought it was a joke. He reached his small ship in the docking bay and immediately sent a message to Earth. Then he sent another to New Busan, warning them, telling them to evacuate if they could. But he knew they probably couldn't. New Busan was too far from any major shipping routes. Help would take days to arrive if it came at all. The aliens thought humans were weak and primitive. Maybe they were, right? Teho had just watched his people's best hope for peace die in a room full of laughter. All he could do now was warn them and hope someone would listen. Young-Soo stared at the message display in his office, reading the words for the 5th time. The warning from Ambassador Teho was clear. 6 alien warships were coming to New Busan. They wanted surrender and tribute. They would arrive in less than 2 days. He looked out his window at the mining colony below. 50,000 people lived and worked on New Busan. They had built a good life here among the asteroids. The mines produced rare metals that Earth needed. The farming domes grew food that could feed millions. Children played in the safe corridors while their parents worked honest jobs. Now aliens were coming to take it all away. Young-Soo activated his communication console and sent messages to every ship captain in the system. Most were cargo haulers or small mining vessels. None had weapons worth mentioning. The biggest gun in the system was mounted on the orbital defense platform, and it was designed to break up asteroids, not fight warships. Captain Sang-ho commanded the defense platform. His response came back quickly. Administrator, we have 6 laser batteries and some missile pods. Against alien warships, we might as well throw rocks. Young-Soo rubbed his tired eyes. He had sent an emergency message to Earth, but the nearest military ships were 4 days away. By then, it would be over. He called a meeting of the Colony Council. 12 people gathered in the conference room, all looking worried. Hana, the chief engineer, sat across from him. She was young but smart, and her team kept all the colony systems running. Options? Young-Soo asked simply. We could evacuate, suggested Dr. Kaiwoo, the medical chief. Get everyone on ships and scatter. Where? Asked Hana. The cargo ships can barely hold a few hundred people each. We have 50,000. We could hide in the asteroid field, said mining supervisor Dongmin. Power down everything, go dark. For how long? Young-Soo asked. These aliens have advanced sensors, they'll find us. The room fell quiet. Everyone knew the truth. They were trapped. Then Hana spoke up. There might be another option. Everyone turned to look at her. She seemed nervous but determined. The old stories, she said, about the ship in the asteroid field. Young-Soo frowned. Hana, those are just stories. Are they? She asked. My grandfather worked on the first survey teams. He always said they found something out there, something from the old wars. Dongmin shook his head. Even if there was a ship, it would be 200 years old, dead and useless. Maybe, Hana said. But what if it isn't? Young-Soo looked around the table. They had no other options. Even a dead ship might provide shelter for some people. All right, he said. Take a team and check it out. But be quick. Hana left the meeting and gathered her best engineers. Jong-Soo and Min-Soo were her assistants, both good with machines. They took a small survey ship and headed into the asteroid field. The asteroid belt around New Busan was huge. Thousands of rocks drifted in slow orbits around the distant sun. Some were small as houses, others big as cities. The miners had mapped most of them, but there were always new ones to explore. Hana followed coordinates her grandfather had given her years ago. She had never really believed his stories about finding an old warship. But now, with alien ships coming, she was willing to try anything. There, Min-Soo pointed at his scanner. Something big behind that asteroid. Jong-Soo flew their ship around the space rock, and they all gasped. It was a ship. Not just any ship, but a massive warship. It was over 1 kilometer long, built like a metal mountain. The hull was dark gray, almost black. No lights showed anywhere on its surface. My God, Hana whispered. It's real. The ship was clearly human-built. It had the simple functional design of human engineering, but it was bigger than any ship Hana had ever seen. Bigger than the orbital stations. Bigger than anything. Look at the name, Jong-Soo said, pointing to letters painted on the hull. Baekje's Fury, Hana read. I've heard that name before. Min-Soo was checking his scanner. The hull is intact, no breaches, but I'm not reading any power signatures. Let's get closer, Hana said. They docked with an airlock near what looked like the bridge. To their surprise, the airlock worked, old but functional. They put on spacesuits and went inside. The ship's corridors were dark and cold. Their flashlights showed metal walls covered in a thin layer of dust. But everything looked undamaged. Preserved. This way, Hana said, following the main corridor toward the center of the ship. They reached a large room filled with control panels and screens. The bridge. Everything was dark and silent. Look for an emergency power switch, Hana ordered. Jong-Soo found it behind a protective cover. Here, should I try it? Hana nodded. Do it. Jiangsu flipped the switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then lights began to flicker on across the bridge. Screens lit up with data. The air systems hummed to life. It works, Minsu said in amazement. After 200 years, it still works. Then alarms began to ring. Red lights flashed. A computer voice spoke. Emergency power activated. Assessing ship status, please stand by. The three engineers stood frozen, not sure what to do. Then the alarm stopped and something impossible happened. A man appeared on the bridge. He was a hologram, but so real they could see the details of his uniform. He looked middle-aged with graying hair and serious eyes. The uniform was old-style military, with captain's insignia. Emergency protocols activated, the holographic man said. I am Captain Do Yun, commanding officer of the Titan, war vessel Baekje's Fury. State the nature of the emergency. Hana found her voice first. Captain, are you? I am an artificial intelligence construct, Do Yun explained. My original personality was uploaded to the ship's quantum core before my death during the Titan campaign. I serve as the ship's final commander and decision-making authority. The Titan War was 200 years ago, Jiangsu said. Correct. I have been dormant, waiting for reactivation. Again, state the nature of the emergency. Hana quickly explained the situation. Alien ships coming. Demands for surrender. No way. To defend the colony. As she spoke, Captain Do Yun's expression grew darker. Hostile alien forces are threatening human civilians? He asked. Yes, sir. How many civilian lives are at risk? 50,000 people. Do Yun was quiet for a moment. Data flowed across the screens behind him as the ship's systems came online. This is unacceptable, he said finally, beginning full combat protocols. The bridge filled with new sounds. Deep humming from the ship's core, the clicking of mechanical systems, the whisper of air flowing through massive ventilation systems. Captain, Hana said carefully, this ship has been dead for 2 centuries. Can it still fight? Do Yun smiled, but it was not a pleasant smile. Engineer, the Baekje's Fury was built to end wars. My systems show full functionality. Weapons, shields and engines are all operational. How is that possible? Human engineering, Do Yun said simply. We built things to last. More lights came on throughout the ship. The massive vessel was waking up after its long sleep. Sir? Minsu asked, what exactly is the Baekje's Fury? She is a Titan-class dreadnought, Do Yun replied. One of 12 built during the colonial wars, designed to fight against overwhelming odds, armed with weapons that could crack continents. Hana felt a chill. What happened to the other 11? Destroyed or lost during the war. The Baekje's Fury was the last survivor. After the peace treaty, she was ordered to this position as a hidden guardian, in case humanity ever needed her again. The ship shuddered slightly as massive engines came online. It appears that time has come. Captain, Do Yun said. Engineer Hana, please return to your colony. Inform Administrator Jiangsu that the situation is under control. What are you going to do? Do Yun's holographic image looked out at the stars through the bridge windows. I am going to remind these aliens why humanity withdrew from galactic politics 2 centuries ago. They seem to have forgotten that our absence was a choice, not a weakness. The 3 engineers returned to their ship, but Hana looked back at the massive dreadnought. Its hull was no longer dark. Light shone from dozens of ports and windows. The ship that had slept for 2 centuries was fully awake. And somewhere in its quantum core, the ghost of Captain Do Yun was preparing for war. Commander Zalthon sat in his crystal command chair, watching the star system grow larger on his screens. New Busan was a tiny dot of light ahead, surrounded by asteroids and mining platforms. 6 Veltari warships followed behind his flagship, their crystal hulls gleaming in the starlight. This was going to be easy. Scan the system, Zalthon ordered his crew. Locate all human vessels and defensive positions. The tactical officer, a younger Veltari named Kixander, worked at his crystal console. Sir, I detect 1 orbital defense platform. Primitive weapons. Several cargo ships and miners, no military vessels. Perfect, Zalthon said, his crystalline features brightening with pleasure. These humans will surrender quickly. He had volunteered for this mission. Teaching primitive species their place was entertaining. The humans thought they could join the Galactic Council as equals. They would learn otherwise. Sir, Kixander reported, we are receiving a transmission from the human colony. Put it through. A hologram appeared on the bridge. It showed a middle-aged human male in simple clothing. The creature looked tired and worried. This is Administrator Young-Su. Of New Busan Colony, the human said. We have received your transmission. Our people are civilians. We have no military forces here. Zalthon smiled, showing teeth like crystal spikes. Human, I am Commander Zalthon of the Veltari Second Fleet. By order of the Galactic Council, you will surrender immediately. You will also provide tribute, food, raw materials, and workers. We cannot provide workers, Young-Su replied. These are free people, not slaves. They are now, Zalthon said. You have 1 hour to begin loading. Tribute ships. Resistance will result in orbital bombardment. The transmission ended. Zalthon leaned back in his chair, satisfied. Another easy victory for the Veltari Empire. But then Kixander spoke up, sounding confused. Sir, I'm detecting something strange. In the asteroid field? What kind of strange? A large object is moving, very large. It appears to be a ship. Zalthon frowned. Show me. The main screen changed to show a section of the asteroid field. At first, nothing seemed different. Then Zalthon saw it. A massive shape was emerging from behind a large asteroid. It was dark gray, almost black, longer than his entire fleet put together. What is that thing? He asked. Unknown design, Kixander reported. It appears to be human construction, but the size is impossible. It's over 1 kilometer long. Zalthon laughed. Impossible? The humans cannot build anything that large. It must be some kind of mining platform. But as they watched, the massive object continued to move. It was definitely a ship. An ancient, crude-looking ship, but definitely a warship. Weapon ports were visible along its hull, and it was heading straight for them. Sir, Kixander said nervously, the object is transmitting. Another surrender message? Zalthon asked. Put it through. The hologram that appeared was not what he expected. Instead of a frightened human civilian, he saw a man in military uniform. The human looked calm and professional. Veltari vessels, the uniformed human said. This is Captain Do-Yun of the human warship Baekji's Fury. You have threatened civilians under my protection. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Zalthon burst into laughter. His crew joined in, their crystal voices ringing through the bridge. Look at this ancient derelict, Zalthon said to his officers. The humans are so desperate they send museum pieces against us. He activated his own transmitter. Human captain, your ship is 2 centuries old. Our weapons will turn it to vapor in seconds. Surrender now and we might let your crew live. The human captain's expression did not change. Commander, you misunderstand the nature of human warfare. We do not build ships to look impressive. We build ships to end wars. End wars? Zalthon laughed again. With that antique? Watch this. He turned to his weapons officer. Target the human ship. Fire when ready. The 6 Veltari warships opened fire together. Plasma beams, energy torpedoes, and disruptor rays all struck the human vessel. The space around the old ship lit up like a star. When the light faded, Zalthon expected to see debris. Instead, the human ship was still there, completely undamaged. Impossible, Kixander whispered. Our weapons had no effect. Full power, Zalthon screamed. All ships, maximum firepower. The Veltari fleet fired again. This time they used their most powerful weapons. The space around the human ship became a storm of energy. No shield could survive that much firepower. But when the attack ended, the human ship was still there. Captain Doyun's voice came through the speakers, calm as before. Are you finished? Zalthon stared at his screens in disbelief. How? How are you still alive? Commander, the human captain replied. You are using energy weapons against a ship designed to fight in the Titan War. We faced enemies who could destroy planets. Your weapons are impressive but not surprising. This is impossible, Zalthon shouted. No armor can stop pure plasma. You are correct, Captain Doyun agreed. Armor cannot stop your weapons, but energy fields can absorb them, and quantum barriers can redirect them. Human technology took a different path than yours, and the human ship began to move faster. It was heading directly for Zalthon's flagship. Sir, Kixander reported, his voice shaking. The human ship is charging weapons. What kind of weapons? I don't know. The energy signature is unlike anything in our database. On the screen, they could see ports opening along the human ship's hull. Strange devices emerged. They did not look like any weapons the Veltari had ever seen. Captain Do-Yun's voice filled the bridge one last time. This concludes the demonstration. You now understand that attacking human civilians is unwise. Withdraw immediately, or I will show you what human weapons can do. Zalthon was not listening. He was staring at his tactical display in horror. His sensors were finally reading the human ship's power levels. The numbers were impossible. Sir, Kixander whispered, the human ship is generating more power than our entire fleet combined. Flee, Zalthon said quietly. Sir, flee, Zalthon screamed. All ships, retreat immediately. But it was too late. The human ship fired. A single projectile emerged from the ship's main gun. It was just a metal rod, no bigger than a person. But it was moving at impossible speed, nearly 15% of light speed. The tungsten rod hit Zalthon's flagship dead center. The Veltari warship simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, a beautiful crystal creation that had taken decades to grow. The next moment, it was an expanding cloud of plasma and vapor. The shockwave hit the other Veltari ships, sending them tumbling. Their crystal hulls cracked from the impact. Emergency alarms rang on every bridge. Captain Doyun's voice reached the surviving ships. That was a warning shot at reduced power. The next shot will be at full charge. Leave now. The remaining 5 Veltari ships needed no more encouragement. They turned and fled toward the edge of the system, their faster-than-light drives charging desperately. On New Busan, Administrator Young Su watched the battle through the colony's telescopes. He saw the alien ships fire their weapons. He saw the light show that should have destroyed any ship. Then he saw the human ship fire once. Just once. The lead alien vessel vanished in a flash of light brighter than the local sun. My God, Young Su whispered. What have we awakened? The surviving alien ships were already jumping to faster-than-light speed, running for their lives. The human ship hung in space like a black mountain watching them go. Hana stood beside Young Su in the observation deck. The captain said the ship was built to end wars. I think I understand what he meant, Young Su said quietly. On the Baekjes, Fury, Captain Doyun stood on his bridge, watching the fleeing alien ships disappear into hyperspace. His holographic face showed no satisfaction, no pleasure in victory, only professional competence. Threat eliminated, he reported to his ship's computer. Returning to standby mode. Sir, his AI tactical officer asked, should we pursue the fleeing vessels? No, Doyun replied. They will carry word of this encounter back to their leaders. That was the point. He looked out at the colony of New Busan, where 50,000 humans continued their peaceful lives. They were safe now. The aliens would think twice before threatening humans again. At least, he hoped they would. But Captain Doyun had lived through the Titan War. He knew that some enemies never learned. Some enemies had to be taught the same lesson over and over until they finally understood. If the aliens came back in greater numbers, the Baekje's fury would be waiting. The old ship settled back into the asteroid field, but this time, it did not. Power down. Its weapons remained ready. Its shield stayed active. Captain Doyun had awakened from his long sleep. and he would not rest again until humanity was truly safe. The Galactic Council chambers had never been so quiet. 12 species sat in their high seats, staring at the holographic display in the center of the room. The recording showed the destruction of Commander Zalthon's flagship. One moment the crystal warship was there, the next it was a cloud of glowing gas. Tiklesh clicked her mandibles nervously. The insect-like Kethalai representative had watched the recording 6 times and it still made no sense. "This cannot be accurate," she finally said. "No single projectile can destroy a Veltari cruiser." Zixandra's crystal form was dim with shame and anger. She had lost an entire ship and crew to what should have been a simple mission. "The recording is accurate," she said through clenched teeth. "I have spoken to the survivors. They confirm everything." Gulthak's tentacles writhed with agitation. "How did the humans develop such technology? Our intelligence reports said they were primitives." "Perhaps," said Kelmore slowly. "Our intelligence was wrong." The Draknari war chief leaned forward in his armored seat. His yellow eyes glowed as he studied the tactical data. "The human ship absorbed our most powerful weapons without damage," he continued. "Then it fired a single kinetic projectile at relativistic speed. This suggests technology far beyond what we have seen from them." A new voice spoke from the shadows. "Perhaps we should reconsider our approach." It was Elder Vashati of the Zephyrian Collective. The shadow beings rarely spoke in council, preferring to observe and listen. "Reconsider?" Zixandra's voice rang like breaking glass. "They destroyed a Veltari warship. They humiliated our entire fleet." "Exactly," Vashati replied. "One ship did this, one ancient human ship. What if they have more?" The council fell silent again. Nobody wanted to think about that possibility. But Tiklesh was already working at her datapad. "I am accessing our surveillance records of human space, looking for similar ship signatures." The others waited while she searched. The Kethalai had the best intelligence network in the galaxy. If anyone could find hidden human ships, it would be them. "Here," Tiklesh said after several minutes. "I am detecting unusual energy signatures from several human systems. Previously, we ignored them as background radiation from their primitive technology." She transmitted her data to the main display. Red dots appeared on a map of human space. Dozens of them. "These energy signatures are consistent with the human ship that destroyed Zalthon's vessel," Tiklesh continued. "They have been there for decades, but we never recognized them as ships." Kelmore stood up, his armor clanking. "How many?" "At least 50, possibly more." The number hit the council like a physical blow. 50 ships like the one that had destroyed a Veltari cruiser without effort. "This changes everything," Gulthak said, his purple skin turning pale. "If the humans have that kind of firepower, then why did they hide it?" Zixandra demanded. "Why pretend to be weak?" Elder Vashati's shadow form shifted in what might have been a shrug. "Perhaps they prefer peace to war. Perhaps they knew we would react badly to discovering their true strength. Or," Kelmore said grimly, "perhaps they were waiting for us to make the first move." The implications of that statement settled over the council like a dark cloud. Had they been manipulated? Had the humans deliberately appeared weak to provoke an attack? "We cannot let this stand," Zixandra declared. "The Veltari Empire demands satisfaction. We will assemble a fleet that can overwhelm even their advanced technology." "How large a fleet?" asked Tiklesh. "All of it," Zixandra replied. "Every ship we can gather from all our member species. We will show the humans what happens when they challenge the galactic order." The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some council members urged caution. Others, led by Zixandra and Kelmore, demanded overwhelming force. In the end, fear and pride won over wisdom. The vote was close, but it passed. The galaxy would unite against humanity. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbital command center, Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo studied the same intelligence reports that the aliens had. His staff gathered around the holographic display, watching the red dots that marked alien fleet movements. "They're mobilizing everything," reported Commander So Young, his aide and intelligence officer. "Veltari, Kethalai, Morden, Draknari, and at least 8 other species. We estimate over 400 warships. Hyunwoo nodded calmly. He was an older man, gray-haired and experienced. He had been expecting this moment for 20 years. Destination, he asked. Earth, So-young replied. They want to make an example of us. Around the command center, junior officers looked worried. 400 alien warships against Earth's defenses seemed like impossible odds. But Hyunwoo was smiling. Sir? So-young asked. Your orders? Signal the reserve fleet, Hyunwoo said quietly. Tell them it's time to come home. So-young activated her communications console and sent a coded message to coordinates scattered across human space. The transmission was simple. The children may come out to play. Within hours, responses began arriving. Ship captains who had waited in hiding for decades confirmed they were moving. The energy signatures that had confused alien intelligence for so long began to shift and change. Sir, So-young reported, the fleet is responding. Estimated arrival time is 36 hours. Excellent, Hyunwoo replied. Make sure they know to arrive in formation. We want our visitors to see everything clearly. As the Admiral worked, he thought about the conversation he'd had with his predecessor 20 years ago. Admiral Jinho had been an old man then, tired from years of maintaining humanity's greatest secret. The hardest part, Jinho had said, is letting them think. We're weak, watching them mock us knowing we could end their civilizations in minutes. Why do we do it? Hyunwoo had asked. He was young then, newly promoted to the Admiral's staff. Because humans are good at war, Jinho had replied. Too good. When we first met the galactic species, we realized they had never faced anything like us. Their conflicts were small, limited affairs. They had never experienced total war. So we hid our capabilities. We withdrew, Jinho had corrected. We made ourselves appear primitive and harmless. We hoped we could coexist peacefully, that they would never force us to show them what we really are. Now, 20 years later, Hyunwoo understood what his mentor had meant. The aliens had forced humanity's hand. They had chosen to see human restraint as weakness. They had chosen to attack civilians. They were about to learn the difference between human restraint and human capability. The alien fleet assembled at the edge of human space was impressive. 400 ships from 12 different species representing the combined military might of most of the galaxy. Crystal Veltari cruisers flew alongside living Kethli bioships. Mordoon fluid vessels moved next to armored Draknari battleships. At the fleet's head flew Zixandra's new flagship, grown to replace the one lost at New Busan. She stood on her crystal bridge, looking out at the combined fleet with satisfaction. This, she announced to her crew, is how the galaxy responds to human aggression. But as the fleet moved deeper into human space, heading for Earth, strange reports began to reach the flagship. Scouts reported massive energy signatures moving to intercept them. Objects that had been dismissed as space debris or natural phenomena were revealing themselves to be ships, human ships, lots of them. How many? Zixandra demanded when the reports reached her. Unknown, her tactical officer replied. They are emerging from hiding throughout the system. Current count is 47, 52, 61. The numbers kept climbing. With each report, Zixandra's confidence faded a little more. On Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo stood in his command center, watching the alien fleet approach. Around him, his staff prepared for humanity's first open military action in 2 centuries. Sir, So-young reported, our fleet is in position. 50 dreadnoughts, just like you ordered. Hyunwoo nodded. Signal the alien fleet. Standard diplomatic greeting. Let them know they are entering restricted space. The message was sent on all frequencies. Admiral Hyunwoo appeared as a hologram on every alien ship in the fleet. Attention alien vessels, he said calmly. You are approaching Earth system without authorization. State your intentions. The response came from Zixandra herself. Human Admiral, I am Zixandra of the Veltari Empire, commanding the United Fleet of the Galactic Council. We are here to punish your species for its unprovoked attack on Council forces. I see, Hyunwoo replied. And what form will this punishment take? Complete surrender, Zixandra declared. Your government will submit to council authority. Your military will be disbanded. Your advanced technology will be turned over to us. Yunwu was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. I'm afraid that won't be possible, he said. You see, you've made a critical error in judgment. And what is that? You assume that the ship at New Busan was unusual. You think it was our most advanced vessel? Perhaps our only advanced vessel. Yunwu gestured to someone off-screen. Show them. Suddenly, space around the alien fleet lit up with new contacts. 50 massive ships decloaked simultaneously, their hulls black as the void between stars. Each one was the size of a small city. Each one radiated power that made the alien sensors scream warnings. The alien fleet found itself surrounded by humanity's true military, 50 Titan-class dreadnoughts, the most powerful warships ever built. You wanted to see human technology. The alien fleet hung in space, completely surrounded. 400 ships that had seemed so powerful just moments before now looked like toys next to the human dreadnoughts. The black hulls of the Titan-class vessels seemed to drink in light, making them appear like holes in space itself. On her flagship bridge, Zixandra stared at the tactical display in growing horror. Each human ship was larger than anything in her fleet. The power readings were impossible. Her sensors kept giving error messages because the numbers were too high to process. This cannot be real, she whispered to her crew. No species builds ships this large. Her tactical officer's voice shook as he reported, Flagship, the human vessels they're bigger than our battle stations. Each one generates more power than our entire fleet combined. Across the alien fleet, panic was spreading. Ship captains who had come expecting easy victory now found themselves facing something beyond their worst nightmares. The humans had not just hidden their technology, they had hidden an entire fleet of war machines that defied understanding. Admiral Hyunwoo's voice reached every ship in the alien fleet. His tone remained calm and professional, as if surrounding 400 warships with 50 dreadnoughts was a normal day's work. Alien fleet, you came here to demonstrate galactic superiority. Instead, you have learned an important lesson about human restraint. Zixandra found her voice. Impossible. You were primitives. We saw your ships. Metal boxes with chemical rockets. Those were cargo haulers and civilian vessels, Yunwu replied patiently. Did you really think we would show you our military technology before we knew your intentions? The truth hit the alien commanders like a physical blow. The humans had been watching them, studying them, learning their capabilities while hiding their own. For 2 centuries, the admiral continued, humanity withdrew from galactic politics. You assumed this was because we were weak. You were wrong. We withdrew because we were strong. Too strong. On the bridge of a Kethli bioship, War Queen Tezara clicked her mandibles in terror. Her ship's living hull was actually shivering with fear, sensing the massive predators surrounding it. Our intelligence was completely wrong, she transmitted, to the other alien commanders. These are not the humans we studied. These are something else entirely. They're the same humans, came the reply from Kelmore on his Draknari battleship. We just never saw their true nature before. The Draknari war chief was studying his tactical displays with professional interest despite his fear. Look at their weapon configurations. Those are not energy weapons, they appear to be kinetic systems, but the power requirements. Enough speculation, Zixandra cut in. We still outnumber them 8-1. All ships, prepare for attack formation. But before any alien ship could move, Admiral Hyunwoo spoke again. I would not recommend that course of action. On his flagship, the human admiral stood calmly on his bridge. Around him, his crew worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. No panic, no excitement, just professional competence. You see, Hyunwoo continued, human warfare evolved differently than yours. While you developed energy shields and plasma weapons, we focused on a different approach. He nodded to his weapons officer, Commander Jae-min. Demonstrate, the admiral ordered. One of the human dreadnoughts fired a single shot, not at any alien ship, but at an asteroid floating nearby. The projectile moved so fast it was invisible. The asteroid, roughly the size of a small moon, simply vanished. One moment it existed, the next it was a rapidly expanding cloud of dust and vapor. Relativistic kinetic weapons, Admiral Hyunwoo explained to the stunned alien fleet. Tungsten, rods accelerated to 20% of light speed. When they impact, they release energy equivalent to a small star-going supernova. The silence on the alien communication channels was deafening. Every captain was staring at where the asteroid had been, trying to process what they had just witnessed. That was our lowest power setting, the Admiral added casually. Zixandra's crystal form was flickering with terror. You could destroy planets with those weapons. Correct. We learned during our colonial wars that sometimes you need to end conflicts quickly and decisively. These ships were built to fight against impossible odds and win. Elder Vashti's shadow form materialized on the communication channel. The Zephyrian had remained silent until now. Admiral, Vashti said quietly, why did you hide this capability from us? Hyunwoo's expression softened slightly. Because we hoped it would never be necessary. Humans excel at warfare, Elder Vashti. We are very, very good at killing things. Too good. The Admiral gestured to his fleet of dreadnoughts. When we first encountered your species, we realized you had never experienced total war. Your conflicts were limited affairs with rules and honor codes. You had never faced an enemy that would burn entire star systems to achieve victory. So you pretended to be primitive, Gulthak said, his tentacles writhing with understanding. We withdrew, Hyunwoo corrected. We made ourselves appear harmless because we hoped to coexist peacefully. We wanted to be neighbors, not conquerors. Kelmore's gruff voice cut through the channel. But we forced your hand. Yes, the Admiral agreed sadly. You mistook our restraint for weakness. You chose to threaten civilians. You left us no choice but to respond. The alien fleet hung motionless in space, surrounded by the most powerful military force any of them had ever imagined. 400 ships that had seemed invincible now felt like insects next to sleeping giants. What happens now? Zixandra asked, her voice barely a whisper. Admiral Hyunwoo considered the question carefully. That depends on you. You came here to force humanity's submission. Instead, you have learned that humanity could have conquered the galaxy centuries ago if we had chosen to. He paused, letting that sink in. The question now is, what will you do with this knowledge? Tiklesh clicked nervously. Admiral, the Galactic Council, they sent us to punish you for defending yourselves. Yes, Hyunwoo agreed. And now you understand why that was a mistake. The Admiral's voice became harder, more formal. You will return to the Council. You will inform them that humanity's restraint is not weakness. You will tell them that our withdrawal from galactic politics was a gift we gave freely, not a position of fear. And if they do not listen? Kelmore asked. Admiral Hyunwoo smiled, but it was not a pleasant expression. Then they will meet the rest of the human fleet. What you see here are our oldest ships built 2 centuries ago. Our newest vessels are considerably more advanced. The threat hung in space like a physical presence. 400 alien ships surrounded by 50 human dreadnoughts. And this was just the beginning of humanity's military capability. You have 1 hour to withdraw from this system, the Admiral announced. Use that time to consider what you have learned here today. One by one, the alien ships began to power up their faster-than-light drives. There would be no battle today, no glorious victory to report to the Council. Only the terrible knowledge that they had awakened something that should have remained sleeping. As the alien fleet prepared to flee, Zixandra managed one last transmission. Admiral, why are you letting us go? You could destroy us all. Hyunwoo's expression softened again. Because despite everything, we still hope for peace. We still believe that different species can coexist without violence. But that choice is now yours to make. The alien fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving Earth's system as quickly as their ships could manage. Behind them, the 50 human dreadnoughts watched them go before vanishing back into their hidden positions. On his flagship bridge, Admiral Hyunwoo stood quietly for a moment. His aide, commander so young, approached him. "Sir, do you think they learned the lesson?" "Some of them did," the admiral replied. "Others will need more convincing, and if they come back with a larger fleet?" Hyunwoo looked out at the stars where the alien ships had vanished. "Then they will discover that what they saw today was merely our greeting party." He turned to his crew. "Stand down from alert status. Return to normal patrol duties." As the bridge crew returned to their routine tasks, the admiral thought about the message he would need to send to the other human fleets. The secret was out now. The galaxy knew that humanity possessed weapons that could crack worlds. What happened next would depend on whether the aliens chose wisdom or pride. In the Galactic Council chambers, the surviving fleet commanders delivered their reports to a stunned assembly. The mockery and laughter that had filled these halls just days before was replaced by fearful silence. When the last report was finished, Elder Vashati spoke for all of them. "We have made a terrible mistake. The humans were never weak. They were simply choosing not to be strong. The Council voted unanimously to grant humanity immediate membership with full rights and privileges. None dared oppose the species that had just demonstrated they could conquer the galaxy if they chose to." Ambassador Taeho received the news while still aboard his small ship. The same council that had mocked him now begged him to return and negotiate humanity's place in galactic society. As he set course back to the council chambers, Taeho smiled and thought of his daughter Minna back on Earth. He would keep his promise to bring back good news after all. The galaxy had learned to respect humanity, and hopefully that respect would lead to the peace that humans had always wanted.